So a quick video about complex roof. So the first thing I would start with when you have a complex roof shape is a roof itself. And what we're going to do is we're actually going to turn off the slopes in this roof. So I'm going to add this roof to my level 2, and let's actually go to our level 2 as well. And I'm just going to create some random lines here. And let's just be a really crazy roof. And let's turn off all of these slopes. So let's select all these. We'll uncheck the slope tool. And so now what we have is should be flat roof. Did I not? I missed one. Let's turn that off. So let's turn that one off. So now we have this kind of flat roof object here. And so with your project, if you have different control points, or for example, you have walls below, you have curtain walls, you have beams, you have points that you want to extend, the one thing I would start with is reference planes. And I love reference planes, maybe a little bit too much, but I think they're a very useful tool to help you kind of organize. And just the other thing I might just show you quickly is you can actually turn on reference planes, hide reference planes and work planes. So you can turn those on when you're printing. So when you're in the design phase and you start to draw all these reference planes, one of the more common ones I use is the center reference plane. So like center of windows, center of whatever. And so I find it help turning those on. So reference planes are a great tool. So what I would do in this is I would maybe, draw this reference plane across here. And, I'm just going to start to connect some of these dots, I guess you could say. And that will start to define our roof object, and it'll make it a little bit easier to actually set up our different control points. So obviously this is a little bit of a crazy roof, but it might help doing something like this just to get your different objects kind of set up here. So something like that. I don't think I have any other lines. And so how and where you actually define all these points is up to you. So the next step is to grab your roof itself, and we want to go to modify sub-elements here. So we're going to modify sub-elements, and depending on what you're doing and how you're setting this up, I will usually use split lines. So I'm going to maybe take a split line across here. I'm going to take one across here, and I might take one across here as well, and then across here. And so I think that kind of gives us a really interesting shape. And I think there was already an offset set up, so it might have already sloped some of this. If not, we can just select all these points. And when you're doing these, you actually never want to touch anything over here. So you never want to touch the 0, the base offset. You want to touch this part right here. So we're going to enter this as 0 for a second. And so that's 0 feet above the current level. And so what we can start doing with this is start moving elements. We can actually move the whole line. So let's maybe make this, I'm going to make this a little dramatic. So maybe we'll go up 6 feet. Maybe we'll make this one up 10 feet. And so we can start to have that control over this object. Maybe this line is that same 10 feet. And just check this point is 10 feet. So sometimes when you move a line, if it's already sloped, it won't necessarily move both sides. It'll just move one side. So that was the same in this case. This one is 13 feet. This one is 6. That's fine. So here, let's make this one 6 as well. So that's kind of how you can start to make a bit more of a complex roof. Right here, it's down a little bit too low. We can make that our 10 feet, I believe. So now that's up. But on another note, let's just say that you wanted to have another point kind of in the middle here. Where you have that point is up to you. I think it's better not to just put that point in a certain spot. I think it's better to actually put a reference plane, because then that point is exactly where you want to be. So what I would start by doing is, let's just say I wanted to, and I actually don't see all the roof here. And so if that's the case, let's actually start by raising our view range. So let's take our view range up to like 7 feet. Actually, we went up to 10. So let's say, actually, I'm not going to make this more complicated. Let's just do 10. Let's set this at like 12 or something. So now we kind of see all those lines, and we're actually missing one line. Why? I think is this one up to 13? This one up to 13. So let's move that back down to 10. That's where we want it. So on here, if we wanted to add a midpoint line right here, let's just say, what I might do is I might add a reference plane, and we can add that reference plane to follow that line. And then you will be able to potentially get a center point. So maybe I want it right in the center of that. And so I'll add this kind of cross reference plane. And you don't necessarily have to use the reference planes, but I find they're very useful in just kind of providing organization for yourself. So you're not just putting a point in the middle of nowhere. And so let's click this again here. Let's click add point. And now we can put that point right on that reference plane. And so again, we don't actually have a line there, but we just have this one point. And maybe we make this 11 feet, or maybe we make it 6 feet, so it's sloped down a little bit. So you have that kind of control. And so this is how you would make a flat roof flat, or not flat, I guess, for that matter. And this is how you can maybe make some more of those complex shapes. And if this gets a little bit too complex, you could actually break this into sections. So you could have part of the roof being one place, part of the roof being in another place. So that'd be the other way I would maybe handle that.